Last Sunday, I preached a sermon about the dream we had for our church, and that it would be one that's defined not in the typical way that people define not just churches, but all kinds of institutions, defined by the walls, about who's let in and who's let out. So only people like me are let in, and other people are out. Instead, we're dreaming about a church that it acts more like a well. It's a place where all kinds of different people come from all kinds of different directions, because we all need what's at the center. And then that creates new relationships with maybe unexpected people who would have been filtered out by some of the walls that most of us have built without even being aware of it. And as we were reflecting on that sermon, Meghan and I realized that in a lot of ways, our relationship is a really excellent example of that kind of relationship. Because as some of you probably already expect or suspect, Meghan and I are really different. And it's not just your imagination, and it's not just the way that we dress. It's not it's so many parts of who we are. It's the way we think about things theologically, the ways that we think about things sociologically, the ways we think politically. So many things are different about us. Our backgrounds are really different. Our personality styles are different. There's just so many things, and I think in most circumstances, you and I would go to different churches.
Yeah.
Right? In the walls kind of churches, if we're all going to just be with people just like us, we would never meet. And yet, there has been this way that because I think Highrock has been a little bit like this well, that has focused instead of on the perimeters, on the walls and policing those, really focusing on what's at the center, that's allowed you and I to have a relationship that has turned out to be, I don't think it's too much to say, transformational. Mm-hmm. God has really used that to help me see the world differently, to see myself differently, to see the church differently, to see lots of other kinds of people and people groups differently. Honestly, it's changed. It's helped me see God differently.
It feels like it has to have been a God thing that we're even in a position to have this conversation, to reflect back and say, yeah, we're not the same people. But mm-hmm. I will say, like, for myself, I feel like I am a more full, God enfleshed, like, version of me, like who God wanted me to be. I feel like I am more of that because I have been in a relationship with you.
And the truth is, I have learned so much from you. I really do feel like I am a different person. I'm a different pastor. I'm a different follower of Jesus because of some of the ways that God has challenged me through you. And yet, the reality also is that we still disagree about a lot of stuff. And it's not that we just, it doesn't matter. Yeah. No, these things do matter. This is important stuff, I think. And so we are able to debate it. We're able to disagree. And again, there's certain ways that I have changed my mind about certain things because of our conversations. And there are certain ways I'm hoping she will change her mind still.
I think I have a little bit in some ways.
I think that she's going to, I hope that she's going to grow as much as I've grown. I think what we share in common is a common true devotion to Jesus. Mm-hmm. And as much as I've wondered about a lot of other things that you've said or done, I never wonder about that.
But I want to just affirm that you have modeled that humility. Mm-hmm. I think it gave me permission to also offer that back to you, mm-hmm. In the way that you led with curiosity about things that you didn't understand about me. And you took the time to ask hard questions, and would come back when there would maybe be like an unequal response to something, and kind of own that. And I just appreciate that, like, given the power dynamic that could have existed and like did exist, I think, in our relationship, mm-hmm. That you led in that way also gave me permission to offer that freely back to you, mm-hmm. And also to other people. And I think that that's really the beauty of this kind of a relationship, is that, yes, it changes us and it changes our relationship. But when that's healthy, it spills out, like wells overflow, right? And
I love
they
that.
change everything else. And so I've seen that in that shift, and in our staff culture, and
mm-hmm.
what I even think is like possible in our church. And I think that that's so beautiful.
this is exactly why we wanted to share this with you today. It's that we have benefited from this approach to following Jesus, but we really think our whole church would benefit. And it is an uncomfortable invitation. We're inviting you to be less comfortable. We're inviting you into awkward conversations. We're inviting you into destabilizing conversations and encounters. And we're inviting you to cross boundaries that you have stayed behind for a good reason, right? It's hurtful and it's hard sometimes when we step out beyond them. And yet, I think in a world, a culture that is so quick to set up boundaries and vilify the people on the other side, I do feel like this is the way we live out God's kingdom on earth, right? It's this a kingdom that's united not by a sense of uniformity. We all think exactly the same way and do exactly the same thing. It's a unity based on a common love for Jesus that then spills over into this genuine love for each other. And I think it's when people see that kind of relationship in our world, which is it's so unusual today, that's when they're going to say, wow, those people must be followers of Jesus because look at the way they love each other. Right? They'll know that we're Christians by our love. That's really our dream for I think for us and for you and for our church and for our world.